Matt Muller with MovieWeb. It's a pleasure to speak with both of you. Your hair's incredible. Uh,
Good, at least the eyebrows all right. They're normally out of
oh
shape,
yeah.
sticking out all over the place.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
No,
perfect, perfect. This was really fun show that brought a lot of nostalgia back for me, and it's wonderfully edited too. The obvious first question is, did you two meet up at all to sort of discuss the character of Daniel and sort of decide between you two if there were any tics or eccentricities you would try to model off of each other, or did you try to avoid that entirely?
Yeah, we didn't. It was difficult because I was already off shooting the Australian bits when Rory got cast. But I was really, really, really lucky and grateful to Lucy Gaffey, the director, who sort of brought me in on the sort of casting process a little bit. She had a bunch of people that she was sort of interested with and different dynamics with different Allisons and different Daniels. And she did. She asked me and said, who's kind of speaking to you? Who do you feel a kind of kinship with? Who feels like your version of Daniel? So I was really grateful that I could see Rory, and it was a no-brainer for me instant. Well, this guy is just really kind of connecting to my version of what I think Daniel should be. And we kind of knew how important it was because in the show, it's not just like you see the young version and then you catch up and you're with them as an older version. They're intertwined throughout the whole sort of series, so you literally can cut from my face to Rory's back to mine. So there needed to be a sort of a connection in sort of energy and just feeling. So when I saw Rory, yeah, I just kind of knew straight away that he felt like the right younger version, definitely. And he looked like a guy who listened to music. A lot of them, some of them didn't. You know what I mean? They were brilliant actors, but they just didn't look like they had a record collection in their back pocket.
yeah.
Yeah, he's even got the guitar behind him. He's ready.
He's ready, man.
What about you, Rory? I mean, were you able to watch any of the footage of Jim or discuss the character with him at all?
Yeah, obviously it was hard because I only really got one crossover day, I'm pretty sure. And I got to watch literally one scene, but it was a nice scene. It was a scene with Dan and his mum. So it was very easy to observe kind of how he was acting and how, characteristics and stuff. So yeah, it would have been nice to have more time, but as Jim said before, he was kind of involved with the whole casting process anyway, so I felt like I was already halfway there. And
We
it
did
was
get to
just
spend a bit
about
of time. We did when we hung out a little bit before we started filming. We just didn't. We weren't on set a huge amount of time. We had the one day at the record shop that we shot at the same time, didn't we?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was is that not the one day we had?
Yeah, but I'd certainly met you before then. That wasn't the first time I met you.
Really? Oh my
Yeah, I think we,
God.
we,
Yeah, and
we
it's
had a
all it was.
we did a photo shoot. We had to do that photo shoot for the thing, like for the I don't know, like whatever, like a.
Photo shoot.
It was me. It was the four of us in a line,
Oh,
standing on the
yes.
pavement.
Yes,
That was
yes,
the
yeah.
first time I met you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got a vibe of each other and yeah, that was yeah.
Well, for Jim, it just happened. For you, Rory, that was like 20 years ago. Um,
Awful.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do remember
Obviously left an impression. Do you know what I mean?
that.
yeah, yeah. I'm curious. I mean, as Jim said, there's a musicality that he presumed for you, Rory. Are mixtapes still a thing? Have you made, is it mixed playlists now? Have you made any or received any?
It's awful. I haven't made a mixtape. I send I don't even think I've sent a playlist to someone. I think I've literally just sent YouTube links to music videos, which is just it's awful and sickening that it's come to this. But yeah,
Rory's going to bring it back, aren't you, Rory?
I'm gonna
Your
absolutely
campaign to bring back the
100%.
mixtape.
It's coming back,
Yeah.
and I just feel like the whole process of making it, it's. I remember filming as one of the scenes, and it was me trying to make a mixtape, and it was a whole thing. So obviously, you know more about that, Jim, don't you? But I think it should definitely come back, and it's a very romantic gesture, and I've spoken to people who who did that back in the day for people they were interested in. So I think it's really cool, and I think people are going to relate to that in a way. And I do think it should come back. So fingers crossed.
That's good.
Such a defining part of my high school and middle school years. And I think that's why it works as a title and sort of an idea, because there is this nostalgic element to it that the adult versions of Daniel and Allison sort of feel is missing in their bones, that old joy. Um, how aware were each of you maybe of the music that would be used in the show? Because it is such a character. Did you have any knowledge during production or input, or just thinking of your own favorite things? Jim?
Yeah, there was a lot of conversations about the music and what the music should be, certainly between me and Lucy. I was slightly wary going in because I know that everybody has their own connection to music and everybody has their own experiences with music, and music's such a personal kind of thing to everybody. But I wanted to make sure that it sort of connected to my sort of sphere of music, but also, these people were growing up in the north of England in the 1980s, and that there was a very specific sound that was coming out of those cities at that time, and that we did honor that, and we got as much of that in as we could. And of course, there's a lot of collaboration involved, and I felt like we got there. We had. There was a lot of back and forth and a lot of talking, and then some tracks just landed and were just the perfect thing for that moment. But yeah, it felt important to me that Daniel's music taste was eclectic and that he was a music lover, and that you could sort of go in any which way with it. Um, but yeah, it was we were sending each other a lot of playlists, actually, me and the director, and just talking about music. And she's from Australia too, so I wasn't sure if she would sort of be connected to music in the same way as I would, and we'd have different ideas. And so I was really relieved when I first had a meeting with her that she knew a lot of the English bands that I kind of grew up with listening to, and she was very on top of all that stuff and was hungry to kind of learn more. And she knew how important it was for the show to kind of honor that and honor, the sort of English landscape in those bands at that time.
Yeah, I mean, opening with, well, a couple tracks, but then New Order into their Daniel and Allison sort of first dance, literally and figuratively, was great. And Rory, what Jim didn't really have the opportunity for at least the first few episodes or so. We were only given two to act opposite, Allison. What was, do you think, Daniel's fascination with Allison that would last sort of a lifetime? How did you play that without it being creepy and with it being natural?
Yeah, I mean, in the script it said she was kind of like a wallflower girl, which I thought was interesting. She was, I mean, he was Dan when he was younger with this was this kind of popular but grounded guy. And it was kind of for me, it was kind of like she was there. He kind of knew she was there, but hadn't really discovered who she was until that party. And then obviously when they start bonding over the music, it kind of I think he quickly starts realizing that he's falling in love with her, and there's things about her that he really, I mean, that is such a massive thing to have the exact same taste in music, and the fact that they'd share whatever they were listening to. And it was also, I think it was interesting that he really had no idea what Alison was doing when he was with her. So I think that he was kind of desperately trying to understand her life, and I think that's kind of why it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He comes from a kind of working class family. He was loving. He's got kind of role model-ish parents, so he's quite, an ordinary guy, but he has a special love for Alison. And it's heartbreaking that he can't quite figure out what's going on. And for me, yeah, that was just a huge part of it, to try and get that across, that he was really, really really into Allison, and he just loved everything about it. It was almost like they were the same person, but actually they weren't at all at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah,
Yeah. And it comes together at the end. Well, final question, really quick. Jim, you were in another great romance with a interesting conceit and great editing with One Day. I was curious if you watched the TV version at all and how you think TV romance is different from a movie romance. And then I'll let you guys go. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did watch it. I definitely watched it. I was really excited and interesting to watch it. Weirdly, I just worked with Amber Kamad, who plays Emma in the TV show, so we sort of knew each other and were sort of connected. So it was nice to sort of have a personal sort of in with the whole TV show as well. Um, I thought the TV show, I sort of knew it. I knew that the TV show would be able to do a more thorough version of the book, and which is why t episodic TV is so great for sort of novel adaptations. You can sort of spend time with the characters in a very similar way that you can spend time with a character in a book. Whereas in a film, you do have to sort of change it and move it around and reshape it and sort of mold it to existing as its own thing in an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes or whatever. So yeah, it was really beautiful that I knew Ambica and I knew she'd had her time with those characters, and I certainly had had mine. And it was a sort of really special time in my life, and it was really kind of weirdly nostalgic and weird and meta and odd and beautiful all at the same time. Just sort of watching it sort of be played out with two completely different people. And I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought they did both did a great job.
It's awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine. Well, thank you both for discussing this. I think the medium of TV is perfect for this one as well. Each song is, or each episode is almost like a song in a mix. Um, I appreciate it and have a great time at South by.
Thank you, man.
thank
Thank you
you,
very
thank you
much.
very much.